Hey there, folks. Today, I've got quite the tale for you. It's about this girl who went to great lengths to help save the lost souls of her ancestors. She stumbled upon an ancient tree near her home, and little did she know, it was a kind of dimensional gateway to another world. But before I dive into this intriguing story, I want to ask you a little favor. If you're into these kinds of stories, go ahead and hit that like button right now. It really helps boost the video's engagement. And if you're not subscribed yet, well, now's the perfect time to become one. Alright, no more chit-chat, let's get into the story. Once upon a time, in a dense forest near her home, there was a beautiful, cheerful redhead named Emily. She stumbled upon an ancient, weathered tree during one of her adventures. Emily was always curious and couldn't resist a good mystery, so she decided to investigate further. As she got closer, Emily noticed peculiar inscriptions and symbols on the tree. Despite her skepticism, a shiver ran down her spine when she touched the markings. A cold wind swept through the trees, causing her medieval attire to flutter ominously. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily began researching the tree and its inscriptions. She learned that it was known as the Oak of Souls, and local legends claimed it was a cursed place where restless spirits from an ancient battle were trapped. The villagers avoided the area at all costs, warning Emily not to get involved. Despite countless warnings, Emily spent more time by the Oak of Souls, determined to prove that the stories were just superstitions. However, as the nights passed, she encountered unexplainable events. Shadows moved among the trees, and voices whispered her name in the night wind. Her skepticism began to crumble as she unwittingly faced the unexplainable. She discovered that the tree was a portal to another world, and delving deeper into the matter, she realized it also led to a realm where the spirits of her ancestors were trapped. Emily understood that the stories were not entirely false, they were not ghosts, but rather souls in need of help. Touched by their plight, Emily resolved to assist them in finding peace. She knew she couldn't embark on this journey alone, so she shared her plans with her beloved, James. Initially, James was deeply concerned about Emily's idea. Entering such a dangerous and unknown place seemed imprudent. He tried hard to convince her to abandon the idea, citing uncertainties about the other side, the nature of the world, and more. But it seemed like everything he said went in one ear and out the other. Emily was already convinced and tried to calm him by pretending she wouldn't go, even though she was determined to proceed. James went to sleep but couldn't shake off his worries about their conversation. Meanwhile, in the dead of night, Emily decided that the best way to follow her plan was to leave in the middle of the night without informing James. She knew he would try to stop her again, and she didn't want any more arguments with her beloved. So, under the cover of darkness, with the moon shining brightly in the starry sky, Emily quietly made her way to the portal's location, carrying a medallion her grandmother had given her before she passed away. With the medallion in hand, Emily crossed the portal and entered the dark world of spirits. She was terrified by what she encountered: an indescribably eerie place, a true prison for spirits, filled with suffering and cries. It was no place for humans. Meanwhile, James woke up the next morning and realized Emily wasn't at home. In desperation, he frantically began searching for her, and upon finding a letter she had left behind, he realized she had gone after the portal. Remorseful for leaving his beloved alone and feeling like a coward, James became determined to bring Emily back safely. He started looking for any information regarding the portal and discovered an ancient ritual required not only to access it but also to control it. He was determined not only to find Emily but also to be a part of her mission to free the spirits from her lineage. James followed some clues Emily had left behind in her notes about the portal. He discovered that the ritual was complex, requiring specific ingredients and preparations. James spent days gathering the Oak of Souls. The necessary items, including rare herbs, handcrafted candles, and an ancient spellbook he found in an antique store. As James prepared to perform the ritual, he began to sense that something was amiss. Strange occurrences took place in his home. Candles lit themselves, objects moved without explanation, and he heard whispers at night. It seemed like the spirits on the other side of the portal were aware of his plans and were trying to thwart him. Despite adversity and escalating fear, James continued to prepare for the ritual. He studied the spellbook intensely, practicing each step carefully. Every time he made progress toward completing the ritual, the spirits grew more restless and intensified their efforts to stop James. James knew he was in a race against time. He was determined to bring Emily back safely from the spirit world before something terrible happened to her. Meanwhile, in the dark realm, Emily was facing her own challenges and dangers. As James continued his efforts to perform the ritual and bring Emily back, he began to feel like he was being watched. A mysterious figure, dressed in dark robes with penetrating eyes, appeared at the edge of his life. This strange observer seemed to know a lot about the portal and the ritual, which left James intrigued and somewhat apprehensive. One day, while James was about to perform one of the most critical steps of the ritual, the mysterious stranger approached him. He introduced himself as Gabriel and claimed to be a guardian of ancient secrets related to the portal. Gabriel offered his assistance to James, saying that he could expedite the process and make it safer. James was hesitant, but his concern for Emily made him consider Gabriel's offer. Together, they continued the ritual preparations, but as time passed, James began to notice that Gabriel had his own hidden agenda and dark secrets. He seemed obsessed with opening the portal and controlling the trapped spirits for his own purposes. Meanwhile, Emily was facing increasing dangers in the spirit world. Shadows and restless spirits surrounded her, making her mission even more challenging. She felt like time was running out and was determined to free her ancestors before it was too late. Emily ventured further into the eerie realm of spirits, resolute in finding a way to liberate her ancestors. With every step, the shadows seemed to grow denser and more oppressive, as if the very air was saturated with despair. She could sense the presence of restless spirits watching her, waiting to see what she would do next. Then, suddenly, she saw it. A towering figure with eyes burning in fiery red and ancient garments appeared before her. It was the guardian of the portal, the protector of the imprisoned spirits. His voice echoed like a chilling whisper. "Guardian, you should not be here, intruder. This place is forbidden for the living." Emily, despite her courage, felt a shiver run down her spine. She swallowed hard and responded with determination. "Emily, I've come to help my ancestors. They've been trapped here for too long, and I can't ignore their suffering." The guardian fixed his penetrating gaze on Emily. His red eyes seemed to delve into her soul. "Guardian, you do not comprehend the gravity of your actions. Freeing the trapped spirits can bring terrible consequences. They were condemned for reasons." "Emily, I understand the risks, but I can't simply ignore my duty to my lineage. They deserve a chance to find peace." The guardian fell silent for a moment, as if assessing Emily's determination. "Guardian, very well, intruder. You shall have your chance, but know that this journey will be perilous. You will face challenges that will test your courage and conviction." Emily thanked the guardian, aware that she was about to face even greater challenges. With renewed courage, she pressed forward, determined to fulfill her mission and bring relief to the imprisoned spirits, no matter the obstacles she encountered. While Emily ventured deeper into the world of spirits, facing terrifying challenges, back in the real world, James was on the brink of performing the ritual he and Gabriel had prepared together. However, he also began to feel the influence of restless spirits trying to disrupt the ritual. Candles extinguished suddenly, the spellbook trembled in his hands, and the room filled with a bone-chilling cold. Gabriel, standing beside James, appeared increasingly impatient and determined to open the portal at any cost. James started to question Gabriel's intentions, suspecting that he might be using the situation for his own dark purposes. As the restless spirits interfered with the ritual and the environment grew more chaotic, James felt a growing sense of urgency and unease. He knew he needed to act swiftly to bring Emily back safely. Looking at Gabriel, he said with determination, "Gabriel, something isn't right here. I'm beginning to doubt your intentions. You claim to be here to help me, but it seems we're facing resistance from the spirits. Do you know something about this?" Gabriel looked surprised for a moment, then his eyes narrowed, and his expression turned dark. He finally admitted, "James, you are more perceptive than I thought. I have my own interests here. I opened the portal not just to help Emily, but to gain power from the imprisoned spirits. They can grant me knowledge and influence that I desire." James was shocked by Gabriel's revelation and realized that he was involved in something dangerous and selfish. He knew he couldn't allow Gabriel to continue with his plan. He made a quick decision and said, "Gabriel, I can't let you do this. My priority is to bring Emily back safely. You are no longer welcome here." With those words, James interrupted the ritual, pushing Gabriel aside and facing the restless spirits with renewed determination. He knew that the task of bringing Emily back would not be easy, but he was willing to face any challenge. As James confronted the disruption of the ritual due to his confrontation with Gabriel, he began to feel the pressure of time and growing concern for Emily's well-being. His hands trembled, and his determination wavered. It seemed like all was lost. But in a moment of sheer exhaustion, on the verge of giving up, a mysterious figure appeared at his side. This figure wore a dark cloak and exuded an aura of wisdom and authority. He introduced himself as Alistair, an ancient guardian of the portals between worlds. "Alistair, James, I know what you desire and what is at stake. Gabriel may have deceived you, but I am here to help you safely cross the portal and fulfill your mission. We can also rescue Emily and the imprisoned spirits." James, in an act of bravery, refused to give up. He was determined to open the portal and bring Emily back, no matter the obstacles that arose. With renewed determination, he agreed to work with Alistair to complete the ritual and open the portal safely. With Alistair's assistance, James and Alistair finally managed to open the portal between worlds. They courageously entered the portal, even though James was almost exhausted from his previous efforts. Upon emerging on the other side, James and Alistair were met with a distressing sight. Emily was on the verge of collapse, battling a powerful figure from the other world who appeared to be one of the leaders of the trapped spirits. The battle was about to turn fatal for Emily. At this critical moment, Alistair didn't hesitate. He focused all his power and engaged in an intense magical duel with the otherworldly leader. Lightning and shadows clashed as they fought for supremacy. During the duel, they engaged in a fierce exchange where the otherworldly leader said, "Your place is not here. You should have never come. This fight is not yours." While Alistair responded, "This fight will lead us nowhere. We only wanted to free the lost spirits and help them find peace. I propose a truce so that you may consider a way for us to come to an agreement that benefits both parties. You know this claim is justified." And so, they agreed to a temporary truce. After the intense battle that had taken place earlier, it seemed that an agreement had been reached. The otherworldly leader agreed to allow James, Alistair, and Emily to free the trapped spirits, and they began the process. The spirits, finally liberated, began to ascend toward the long-awaited peace. Everyone seemed to be in harmony, and a sense of relief hung in the air. James, Alistair, and Emily felt triumphant, believing they had accomplished their mission. As they prepared to pass through the portal back to the world of the living, Emily remembered the medallion her grandmother had given her as a child. It was a special gift, and she had never known its true significance until now. "Emily, wait. I just remembered this medallion my grandmother gave me. She always said it was a family heirloom, but I never knew what it did." She held the medallion tightly in her hand, and suddenly, it began to glow with magical light. Everyone watched in wonder as the medallion emitted a comforting energy. "Alistair, this is the final link we were looking for. The medallion is the key to sealing the portal permanently and ensuring that the otherworldly leader can no longer cross it." With the medallion as the magical key, they performed a powerful ritual that securely sealed the portal, preventing any entities from the otherworld from crossing it again. The otherworldly leader, defeated and weakened, realized that he could no longer pose a threat. He retreated, accepting his defeat. With the threat contained and the portal sealed, James, Alistair, and Emily could finally return to the world of the living. They shared a moment of relief and gratitude for having resolved the situation. The otherworldly leader, despite agreeing to a temporary truce, remained filled with mistrust. He looked at Alistair with challenging eyes and asked, "You speak of peace, but how can we trust you? Actions speak louder than words." "Alistair, I understand your concerns, but our goal is genuine. We did not come to cause more conflict, but to help. If you do not allow us to proceed, it will be impossible to find a peaceful solution." The otherworldly leader growled and prepared for one final confrontation. The forces of the otherworld gathered around him, ready for battle. Alistair, James, and Emily also prepared for the imminent clash. The battle that followed was intense, with supernatural powers colliding and creating sparks in the air. It was a showdown of forces, and no one was willing to yield easily. Each side fought with determination. However, after a prolonged confrontation, Alistair and his group managed to gain the upper hand and forced the otherworldly leader and his forces to retreat. The otherworldly leader, reluctantly, finally yielded and withdrew into the shadows. "Alistair, this doesn't have to be this way. Together, we can find a solution that benefits everyone." The otherworldly leader, reluctantly, murmured in agreement and stepped back, allowing Alistair, James, and Emily to continue their mission. With the mission accomplished, an eternal friendship formed between James, Alistair, and Emily, and the sense that more adventures may lie ahead, the fact-based ghost story comes to an exciting conclusion. The three heroes bid farewell to the world of spirits, knowing that their work brought peace to the trapped spirits and balance to both worlds. They looked to the future with determination and a strong bond of friendship that nothing could break. Their story is far from over, and who knows what other mysterious and supernatural adventures await them in the future. With that, we leave the door open for future stories and more challenges they will face together. Now, I want to hear from you, folks. What did you think of this story? Do you think we should keep it going? Got any suggestions for possible next chapters? Drop your comments down below in the video. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out the pinned link in the comments for the next story I've got lined up for you. See you there. Bye.